All right. All right. All right. Okay, so today we're looking at a very wonderful topic. Today we're looking at a very wonderful topic which says why most marriages are failing within its first to third years. Why most marriage are failing within its first to third year, or the first year between year one, year two, and year three of such marriages. You see, marriage is an institution that is designed or that is expected, that is supposed to stand the test of time, and according to the vows that these people usually take, is that till death do us apart. That's what majority that's what majority of people actually do during their vow exchange, when the marriage is actually what is actually taking place. But now there is a problem. What is that problem that is there? Problem that is there now, or the problem that is now happening of very recent, problem that are now happening of very recent is now that modern marriages are now crashing within their first to third years. So let's look at some of the reasons why are these marriages, why are they crashing within their first to third years? What's happening? Or what is it that they are not getting right? So let's start like this. Let's start like this. Now, the most common source from what I have from my own study that has to be the cause of this particular issue is that majority of people, or majority of couples that got married, they got married through the back door. When I say they got married through the back door, I will explain. Now, it is expected that before marriage should take place, that there should be dating or courtship. That means these two people should get to know about themselves a little. They should understand themselves. Know A should know B, and B should know A. It might not actually be 100%, but both of you should know yourself to a considerable percentage before the both of you get married. But in these modern times, we have discovered that the paradigm is now on a different note. The paradigm is now on a different note, meaning that people just come together and they they don't even date the way they are supposed to date. Then the next thing, they come out and they just fly out their marriage. They fly out their marriage. They fly out. They float their marriage posters. Oh, sorry, they float their marriage invitation, or invitation card rather. So how will this actually affect this particular marriage? Will it affect it positively? Will it affect it negatively? The question is, just like the way humans are strange beings that they work with adaptation, and they respond to both positive, they respond by either positive adaptation or negative adaptation. And you might not be able to tell how an individual will respond, or the way he or she will adapt to a particular situation when that particular situation actually happens as regard marriage. So let's look at some of the reasons. Now, people no longer date. Yes. People no longer date, or even when they date, they are not genuine to themselves. They just, they just, they go on, they just go to a fancy restaurant, they eat food, then the next thing, what is your favorite colors? They just eat, and when one sees that the other, that he can manipulate the other, or she can manipulate the other, then he says, oh, I love you, oh, you are the best dream that have ever happened to me. That's what we now discover that is now happening in relationship. Or when one sees that the other can be able, or will be able to fend for her, or through her lifestyle, or through her lifetime rather, one sees that the other person is financially stable, then you say, oh, I love you, oh, you are the best thing that in fact, you are my perfect match, you are my spec, stuff like that. This simply because he has seen where or whom she can actually what manipulate positively, or whom she can use her life to hang on. So by virtue of this, the right questions will not be asked as regard during this their dating time. The right questions will not be asked, and this will just lead to these two people just entering into relationship, and they will not find any truth about themselves as regard compatibility, incompatibility, character dysfunctionality between the both of them, or character and behavioral inconsistency. So by the time this happens, you discover that within 3 months of just visiting one eatery or the other to eat, the next thing, these people are already coming out and telling the public that they are getting married. So these people now get to know the barest minimum about themselves when they now start marrying, or when they now get married to each other. That means it is now when they are married that they now start dating. That is when the lady who is now a wife now will now know the elder brother. Let's use that. Let's start with that. Will now know the elder brother of this young man. That is when she will know the blood group of this young man. That is when she will know the genotype of this young man. That is when she will know if this young man has anger issues or he does not have. That is when she will know that this young man do cheat or he does not cheat. That is when she will know that this young man has the capability to lead or does not have the capability to lead. While on the other side again, that is when this young man will know that this lady has the capability to actually what? Has the capability to hold a meaningful conversation with a man or not, or has the capability to respect a man, or he does not have that capability. All these statements and these items I'm just listing are things that that are supposed or are expected to happen within the first 3 months or 6 months of dating. But simply because these people did not never dated, they what? It just happens that they do not know anything about themselves. Then they just hop into marriage. The young man, because he has the money to fund things at his own detriment, because whatever he's doing now is at his own detriment. Considering the fact that he 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 will be the one who will be at disadvantage, spending so much money to marry a woman only to discover that the both of you are not supposed or we are not meant to be for each other. You understand? So he spends so much money. It does a very flamboyant lifestyle, as strongly requested or as strongly demanded by the young lady. And all of this happens, and then the next thing, they start having marital irregularities starts happening. This one starts complaining that my wife is not respecting me. The woman starts complaining that my husband is a cheat. A woman starts complaining that my husband is not providing, but you are the one who will say that, this person is the best thing that happened to you during your what? During your dating. You understand? So all of these are some of the things that actually make marriages not to last within the first to its third years. Then that's one. Then let's go to the second one. We have issues of ex coming up. That means, let's assume that maybe we still have this woman talking to her ex, even though she's married. You know why this happens? It happens simply because the young man didn't take things serious. He didn't put things into proper consideration. Hence, he just got married to this young lady, and he just believes that without bothering to check the level of fidelity, the fidelity level or the transparency level of this young lady. In previous editions, I've talked about that when a lady is still communicating with her ex and she's in relationship with you, it's a sign that you are not really in the picture of the relationship. What she's simply saying there is that she's holding you in that relationship until it is safe enough for her to go back to that ex, or there is something that ex is giving to her that you, the current person, you are not giving to her. And that can include maybe a good, you understand, maybe that's what that's what she is enjoying from that her ex, and maybe you are not giving it to her that much. Then two, maybe it can happen that ex is richer than you. It's also the reason why I've also said in previous edition of podcast that if your girlfriend once dated someone and the person she once dated is richer than you are the new person now, and that person is richer than you, and she was living a very flamboyant or a very expensive lifestyle, do not consider dating her if you have a lower financial status than that previous person she once dated. It's also the reason why I said that if you are a young man and a lady has dated a Yahoo boy, or she has dated someone who is into shady deals, who is into fraud, do not, I repeat, do not make it as a mistake to date that lady. because the kind of lifestyle that she has been introduced into, you as a young man who is who works legally, irrespective of the amount you earn, you may not be able to fund that kind of lifestyle. So do not make that kind of terrible mistakes. You understand? So that's what it actually happens or play out like. So these are the reasons why she will keep going back to that ex to what? To actually meet him, whatsoever they have it. Then that's for that. Then three, and this is usually the foundation of infidelity, because it might not happen that maybe it can even happen that uh, uh, the first child that the both of you will have together in that marriage, that her ex may actually be the owner of that child, because it's most likely possible that she will go and give him what is called uh, uh, a send forth, a send forth, a send forth party. That her ex will give her a send forth party, and you know what the send forth means? A good. So that's what is there. Now, when this thing is like this, do you know what actually happens? It happens that when these things is like this, it happens that you know uh, when this thing is like this, it will usually be that it will lead to the foundation of infidelity, because when it happens that she went for the Sanford party that I just talked about, yes, it's likely that they will do it raw. And with them doing it raw, there is every chance that, in fact, there is all possibility that this man will leave it inside. And with him leaving it inside, which is days to the marriage, fertilization will likely take place. And by the time fertilization takes place, early signs of pregnancy will kick off. And by the time early signs of pregnancy kicks off, then we'll now begin to have it that, by the time you, the man who got married to her, by the time you now do your own entry, which usually will start happening from the honeymoon night, or the night of a night when you just concluded the marriage, you will still leave it inside. But a fertilization has actually taken place. So which means that your own fertilization will not happen. So in a couple of maybe 3 months now, she now tells that she's now having signs, and you people will go for, hospital, the check, and the check, they'll tell you she's, pregnant. But you now, as a married man, you might not actually be able to do your proper mathematics to actually know, because you know that you've been there. And none of such will actually come to you, because you didn't actually anticipated on all of such. You understand? So that's how these things actually work. That's how these things actually happens, and we discover that by the time the first child is birthed, it will be noticed and it will be discovered that she, this woman, will know that it is not that child is not yours, but she wouldn't tell you. And occasionally she will, in fact, they will even be asking, the ex will still be asking, how is my child, how is my boy, how is this, how is that, all of those are happening, and you, being the husband, you are not aware. And this continues maybe until the husband actually finds her, or he spots her in a compromising position, And that is when all of this, in a compromising way, and that is when all of these details will be exposed, and in majority of the case, that will usually be what will end that particular marriage. That will just, that people, that they just gathered people for, and uh, to share food for, and nothing else. Just give me like 4 minutes. So that's actually what happens. Then another thing again is, and so that marriage will just end like that. Then another thing again that actually makes most marriages actually break within the first 1 to 2 or 3 years is because majority of ladies just want to in the title of getting married. They are not actually in for marriage. It is not their plan. It is not their goal to get married. So when you find yourself with this kind of women whom it is just their aim, it is just their goal to get married, they will do everything possible just to ensure that they have a very luxurious wedding, a very expensive wedding. And if you happen to be a foolish or a stupid man to actually fall in this particular trap, then it will happen that your marriage will take place, and by the time your marriage takes place, it will happen that you may not, or you will. It will happen that your marriage will take place, and it will happen that your marriage will take place, but you married for the wrong reasons, which may be unknown to you. Now, why is it unknown to you? She convinced you, she compare. In fact, she will tell you that this thing is not marriage, you will do it, you have to do it once and for all. Take loan. She will even convince you to take loan. She will, if your budget is, maybe let's assume that your budget is about maybe like 1 million, for instance. She's discovered that your budget is like 1 million. She will convince you to increase that 1 million, to increase it to 3 million, even if to warrant you taking a loan to what, to get to that particular benchmark that she created. She will convince you to what, to do it, simply because she wants to create that ego for herself. This happens, and by the time this actually happens, she tricks you and you fall for this trap, and the event actually takes place, and the both of you, she and it's most likely that majority of the ladies who are in this category, majority of them are low-key, are whole low-keys. So they just want to make that marriage, they just want to make it like, I finally found Mr. Right. Those who were saying, I am a hoe, even though she knows she's one, those who were saying, I am a hoe, let this marriage send a bell of warning to them that they said I won't be able to get married. I got married. Mr. Right found me. In fact, the husband, he didn't care about my past. In fact, my past does not matter, all of those. So they are just saying this marriage as a way of validation, a way of raising their esteem, because they know that their esteem is very low. So they use it as a back door to what, to get themselves into that particular marriage. So that's one thing you must actually what, understand as a young man. So it actually happens like that. So when this is in place, it is most likely that that kind of marriage will not take place. So she has earned the title. So she's not there to respect you. By the time you do anything, she will tell you, this me, I cannot change this, blah, 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 And before you look, a marriage that is not up to 1 month, 2 months, or even 3 months, already having issues. Families have settled the both of them for over two consecutive times, and then problems start. Then another cause of as to why marriages actually do not uh, last is because majority of ladies are clocking their are already getting close to their biological clock, or their biological clock is ticking. So by the time their biological clock is ticking, when they get to know a guy, they don't ask the necessary question, and with that, a guy whom they were not supposed to date, they date this person, and at the end they got married to this particular person, and then problem starts. So they don't know the person's character, they don't know what this person is capable of doing, so they make all kind of mistakes, and it's just like that. So they are doing everything under pressure. They want to make the marriage as fast as possible, before the man will actually want to find out. So this will lead us to the number 5 reasons as to why marriages are failing seriously, which is not asking the right question, not getting enough details as to why marriages are what failing. So if you do not ask the right question, you want not ask question. Who is this girl? Who is this man? I want to date him. I'm planning on getting married. Who is him? What are the things people know about him? So those are just some of them. We'll continue with the part 2 of this particular edition in our next program. Thank you and stay tuned. This is the Official Podcast, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Do well to like us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Rumble. And do well to follow us as well. Thank you, and I'll talk to you. This is the